Lebo, welcome. That was such a nice segue. We did not plan that, guys. We did not plan it at all. But welcome.
Thank you.
Your wife gave birth earlier this week.
Yes.
Are you exhausted? Are you having
not.
sleepless nights?
I was exhausted, but now I'm rested,
Ah.
I'm just trying to get used to being a dad of 2 girls.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
A huge congrats. And yes, to the next 18 more years of being responsible for another human.
Yeah.
Lebo, you and I had a chat at a previous MBB event.
Yeah.
And we sat across from each other like this,
Yes.
where you were vulnerable enough to share your journey as well as some of your blunders.
Yeah.
And so I love the fact that you're back, just like Paul. Like I was saying earlier on, if it's nice, you play it twice. So welcome back. We're going to continue, obviously, I think, from where we left off the last time. But for the sake of our audience today, online and offline, I think let's just recap very quickly in terms of your origin story when it comes to business. Where did you start? Why did you start it?
Okay, so I'm summarizing.
Yeah.
I started my first business back in 2009. So Kemfana Sosha, raised and grew up in Soshanguve. Started my first business in 2009, I was 19. So you can calculate how old I am now. And then that business was actually a business of consequence because the church I was in, they had a youth camp every year. And a lot of the young kids, I was also young at that time, but a lot of the young people at that time could not afford to go to camp. And so, believe it or not, I used to dance hip hop.
Now we believe it. We can see it. We can see it.
So because of that, one of my pastors, youth pastors, asked me can I come up with an event to raise money to get a lot more people going to youth camp. And because I was in the dancing industry, we invited a lot of dancers from Durban, Cape Town, Johannesburg. They all came to the church in Soshanguve. And that event did very well. We raised a lot of money. A lot of people went to camp. Then my pastor came back to me and said, hey, Mona, this is a business. You have a captive audience. You have a product that they're willing to pay for. That's it. And then that was my first blunder ever because I went into business with someone who was my then girlfriend. And yeah. We'll leave it there. That was my first blunder. But because of those events, I ran it up until 2011. In that process, I met the people that were running the ATA brand, which is now Telkom Mobile. I met the agency that was running the marketing for ATA. And then I decided, you know what, this business is no longer working purely because Lebogang, they didn't understand business at all. We would make money, I'll spend it all. That's why I packed that lady for somewhere, And then every month you're starting from scratch, and eventually caught up. And then the business went down. And then, so in that process, having met those guys, I decided, let me just create a CV. It was the first time I ever made a CV. Let me create a CV, let me apply with these guys. Started as a junior creative. So I had taught myself how to make posters and whatnot because of my events. So my job was whenever the CEO was going to pitch for new business, so he's Afrikaner, so his English was not great, especially written English. So he would put together the presentation, send it to me, and then I would design it, make it look pretty, but also go through the content. And then he started training me, bringing me in. A year and a half later, I became the director of strategy for the agency because purely I was mentored by this man. And then I started working with Lenovo South Africa, big brands from a marketing perspective, all the way to 2014. Then I decided to leave to start another blunder of a business because I love talking. I think now I'm just mellow because I'm tired. But if you got me in the morning, you will. But so I used to live in Fourways when I was working for this agency. So I lived literally across the Indaba Hotel. And every Saturday there were events there, such as these events, business events, and it was always packed. Every time I went, it was always packed. I'm like, you know what? This is an opportunity. I can take this and put it in Soshanguve. And I did that. And I approached some of my mentors. I raised about 200,000 between them. At that time, DJ's Boo had launched More Fire, so there was a lot of noise around DJ's Boo. So we called it Black Men Create. Create your own stuff, man. We brought DJ's Boo. We went to Soshanguve. I realized we had a problem. I think 3 days before the event, we were doing an activation called Rangua. Is there anyone from Rangua? Yeah, good. I was about to say something. I don't want to get into trouble. So we were at Rangua doing activation, and I had this flyer. Obviously, DJ's Boo is the main speaker. He's the main guy you see on the flyer. This guy looks at me and is like, the name of this Patiki seminar. I was like, yo, now we have a problem. Because this guy thinks the name is seminar. The word seminar doesn't translate what it means. And these are the people we're trying to bring in. And we built this event for 1,000 people to attend. Only 120 people came. And out of the 120 people that came, all of them, except the people that knew me personally, were from Joburg. So the people I was building this event for were Soshanguvans and Mabopanins and Harankuas. But there were Joburg people that came. Needless to say, I lost that full 200,000, which I was supposed to pay back to my mentors. Then I had one particular mentor who is a pastor as well. So that man is a man of faith. It's like Paul or so. It's a man of faith. So he says, no, let's do it again. I'm like, hey, man, then he's like, no, I will fund you. Funded another 150,000, booked out Harangua TUT campus, pushed it up. It was looking amazing with lights and everything. This time only 20 people came.
Shoo.
So I lost that thing again. And I remember I was down and out at that time. And then because of one of the events that I did, there's a guy called Levi who was in the crowd. And Levi got my number through the flyers. He calls me and he says, hey, man, I really want to say something to you. I don't know you personally, but I want to tell you something. I'm like, Evan, T-man, okay, let me just listen. And he says to me, this is the very first time with anything that has been done in the township that I've seen such level of marketing. My question is, why are you busy doing events and not a marketing company? Mind you, my experience, I come from an agency, but it never dawned on me that I should start a marketing company. I was like, I'm down and out, city 2,000, I'm a fellow. Plani, let me do what this guy says. It was exactly the 9th of September, 2015. I remember because it was my grandmother's birthday. And that night, I designed the website, the logo. I called it Lemok Agency, which is my name and surname, if you don't know. But anyway, I called it Lemok purely because in the marketing industry, most agencies are named after the owners. So your Y&R is your Young and Roberts, JWT, John Water Thompson. So I was thinking about him like, the Mokubela. I was like, yeah, no. this one won't work based on where we want to go. So I thought, Lemok, it sounds like JC Leroux, you know? It sounds nice. It rolls off the tongue. Then I started that business. And 5 months later, I had made more money than I had lost. And purely because I got customers from Angola, Nigeria, even Florida, USA, purely using Instagram. And I was like, okay, good stuff. So that became pretty much the journey of where I am today. I'm still in the marketing environment, but we're doing totally different things now. But I'm still in marketing, so I don't want to jump the gun.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow, Lebo. I think if we can just park at that first blunder, which was obviously starting the business, like you said, with an ex-girlfriend or a girlfriend, right? Besides her, what's another key takeaway from that experience? And then also how, from that first blunder right through to the second one, where you were really trying to build, it sounds like you were trying to build something for a community or a target market that wasn't ready for what you were bringing to the market, right? So what were the key lessons for you between these two blunders?
Okay, so the first one is what is governing today. So that man over there with the red golf shirt there, He's my current business partner.
Okay.
So with that one, I then realized the flaw was because naturally you're my girlfriend. I'm thinking you understand me. You know, I'm thinking, no, man, we work together here. You know, you see me working midnight. You know, exactly. Same WhatsApp. You see me waking up on midnight and I'm working. You will have the same tenacity. You'll have the same drive as me. Next, you know. And then it became a thing of, why should I tell you what you need to do? Because we spoke together and agreed that we are building a business together. And we clearly defined that I'm the guy that brings the people. You are the person that runs the operations and the events. Why should I now be the one that's always now moving between departments and you are not phased? You know, so I think the biggest issue then that I didn't know was business partnerships can be born from relationships like friendships or dating or whatever the case, or even married people, but they must be defined and they must be structured outside that. So him and I are very good friends, but he knows when it comes to business, I don't play around. I will sit him down in a boardroom and know a flop, you know, because we are friends and we clearly define that when we are friends, we are friends. When we are building the business, we are building the business. So I think with that, that's what I learned. With the second...
But let's just park there for a second because that is so important, right? I've never been married, but I believe that getting out of a business partner contract is way more difficult and tedious than getting a divorce. And that in and of itself tells you how important it is to pick your business partners right. Right? And so I shared this with some of the guys that we're training at the moment, that I was listening to a podcast, and it was basically talking about romantic relationships, and that you have to share a vision, you have to share values, and you have to share the same lifestyle at a bare minimum in order for the relationship to work. So while I was listening to this, I thought, but that applies to business as well. You have to share the same vision, you have to share the same values, and you certainly have to share a lifestyle when it comes to picking your business partners. And what we find a lot of times is that you get this big contract, this person can deliver possibly something that you need, and so quick, we sign NDAs and we sign contracts, and you don't even know, I think, Vivian, it was you who said, you didn't even know the guy's wife, right? And so it's important to court your business partner. It's important to understand them and make sure that you guys are on the same page.
You know, we made the same mistake, actually. You know, I think sometimes I'm always hard on myself because the first time you do it, I call it a mistake. If you do it the second time, I'm like, now...
It's a habit.
Now there's a problem, you know. But when we sat down, because he's a creative. So when we met around 2019, we were running 2 separate companies, but I was outsourcing a lot of things to his company from a creative perspective. Then we decided, no, man, let's just merge. Because there are capabilities you have that I don't have, you know. I'm the strategy guy, I'm the sales guy. And then there's a creative element that needs to be there. Yeah. So when we came together, then we realized there was a gap in terms of animation, design, and all these things. And there's a guy we knew who's very good at it, and he's also running his own agency. But instead of us thinking and saying, okay, we'll just outsource to this guy, we thought, let's invite this guy into the partnership. So it was a 3-way thing, and we justified it. A 3-chord is stronger than a what. Yeah, no. And we justified it so nicely.
As we do.
And this guy came in, and when money, you know, I think sometimes the biggest expose is money, guys.
Yeah.
You know, it's not what people are telling you. Because when you sit down here, we talk and talk. Don't worry. Me, I work hard. You know, I'll work harder than you. Must set targets for each other and see who's going to be the best one. Proof. Let's start. Chilling. You know, he would go MIA. Fridays we knew. We always laughed about it. Fridays we knew this man, you will not find him. We will be texting, hey, Mona, we need this thing urgent. To Monday, 10 a.m. Hey, Majita, who's it? Like, Mona, we were looking for you the whole weekend kind of thing. But when money started coming in, then obviously at that time we decided we are not going to pay ourselves salaries because we didn't want to commit to PAYE and all these things. So we decided every project we will have like a commission, and then we'll split it 3 ways. We had our own commission structure. So money comes in and but after a while you realize, man, demand wire mo patel, you ask yourself, why are we paying this guy? Because most of the work is done by us, not him, and that led to us. So I'm very vocal. So I vocalized it with the team, with the guys. It created a huge fight. And I decided to resign. And I was like, okay, clearly I'm the problem. I will walk away, So I left, and I left the company for about 3-4 months. But I was like, no, man. In the 3-4 months, my brain, the fog moved away. It's like, but this thing is mine and Edwin's. Who's this guy? How? Kilota. This one must leave. And I started having conversations with him, only to find that what I was seeing was exactly what was happening. Because in the 3-4 months they were together, nothing happened. And that was the trend with this guy. He was okay when money is coming in. But when the work has to be done, it became a problem. And that for me, then him and I, we decided to go back and restructure. And even him leaving, we decided there was a little bit of fights. And we're like, you know what? Leave with what you want to leave, because he owed the company money. He had a company laptop. He's like, no, who said this is for the company? It's mine. Sharp, go. Leave with it. We decided it's okay. Sign resignation here so CIPC can remove you. I get CIPC. I don't play that. So we removed him. And then about a month later, after him and I reconciled and we sat down and we thought the business moved again, And that for me was such a big eye-opener to say, like you were saying, vision is such an important thing and it must be shared.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you think everyone is in it for you, the way you think it is. And if both of you live in shelter, that's okay. I'm not saying that's wrong. But what I'm saying that is, yes, it must be compatible. You can't be all about money. You want to milk every project for every margin. I'm thinking sustainability. I'm thinking relationships. Yes, I can charge these guys a 90% margin, but tomorrow they're going to meet someone who's charging a 15% margin. We're going to lose the deal. For sustainability, can we look at, let's work properly with these guys to build a long-term thing. We're not you're always giving away free money, kind of thing. So I think that for me was the most important thing. And also mutual respect. Like I said, I can talk to him and be as blunt as I can, because he knows I'm not speaking to undermine. I'm speaking because these are issues we need to deal with, and certain issues can't sugarcoat them. We need to talk to the issue and deal with the issue. And so because of that mutual respect, even when I speak at that level, or even when he speaks to me at that level, there's no disrespect. But they say offense is taken. It's never given. It's taken.
Yeah.
So if there's no mutual respect, we are always going to take offense. When there was no need to be offensive. It was just an issue. This is an issue. Let's deal with it, kind of thing. So yeah.
Okay, wow. I think that in and of itself is an important takeaway from this discussion, right? That you have to be so careful because your key partners are important. And we were talking about collaborating earlier on. But in that collaboration, it's important to make sure that you guys share a vision, you share a lifestyle, and you share values. It is crucial. Okay, I think you had a second lesson that you learned from the two.
Yeah, so township market. So when I launched the agency Lebogang at 2015, my main thing is, remember, I was coming from sounds bad, but I was coming from a white agency. It's not racism. I'll qualify why I have to use the word white.
Okay.
But I was coming from a white agency that was doing predominantly marketing for black audiences, township audiences. And so in their minds, the way they always thought about campaigns is that give them freebies. Put up a stage at a shopping center, print a few ATA t-shirts and stress balls. I'm like, stress balls is the one that causes stress. Because why are you giving people stress balls? Just because you gave me a stress ball, does it mean now I'm going to leave MTN or whatever and go for your network and be loyal to your network because of a stress ball? You are undermining the audience. So when I left to start Lemok, I said, you know what? I'm going to be township focused and township based. And that's what then we did. But now the beginning of that was the seminar thing. That everything I do, I'm looking at the township economy. But then I learned a very hard lesson. As much as there's billions circulating in the township, there are certain things at that time. Only now things are actually catching up. But they were not ready at that time. They were not ready for what you wanted to bring. So my biggest lesson there was always test. I always test any new business we want to do before we overinvest in it. You know, there's Eric, what is this book again? I keep on forgetting the name of his book. It's Blue. I'll remember. But they talk about a model how to launch a business that you test it. You go through iterations of testing. And then once you have learned and once you have justified the case, scale. You know.
Lean startup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Lean
you.
startup. Yeah.
Lean startup. Thank you so much. So yeah, that was the biggest lesson for me that, you know, don't overinvest. Because I think we're entrepreneurs, we are idea people, right? But the problem sometimes is we live too much in our heads. So we take this idea and we're like, it was billionaire. And then you forget the fact that you are selling to other individuals. You know, I think the biggest mistake we make as entrepreneurs is we model the business around us. You know, we spoke about this the other time. My wife and I in COVID, because we worked with shopping centers, COVID, obviously shopping centers closed, so budgets died literally overnight. So to survive, we started an online store selling sneakers from China. China. But we got these sneakers from China and everything. Can I tell you that the sneakers that we were selling, I hated them. And I was like, these sneakers are the man. Because they were colorful and they had designs so weird. That's not my style. You see, I'm very simple, but elegant, but simple. But anyway, so I didn't like these sneakers. And the ones that I liked, in a year, we only sold, I think, like 4 pairs. The ones I hated the most, we called them the Leo. We sold over 600 pairs.
Wow.
That for me was a wake-up call to say, just because I like it, doesn't mean Paul is going to like it as my customer. Right? There must be a testing. And when we launched the e-commerce brand, we launched with 20 products, but on pre-order. So we wanted to see what was selling the most. And that's where we started buying stock. The ones that were not selling, we leave them as pre-orders. We just tell the client it will take 7 to 15 business days to get to South Africa. If you're willing to wait, grand sharp. If not, it's also okay. But we then tested that. So for me, it has always been that don't live in your own head with your own ideas. Test them out and then scale them and invest, because you're going to invest in something no one wants. And then if it's social media, black people don't support, you know, but you're selling things to them that they don't want. You know, the case of that's what business is. You are selling something that someone needs, either as a solution or as a need or a want. And so it can't be because of us. It has to always be because of the people you're selling to. So that was the biggest lesson.
Wow, I like that, because a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we feel like it's about us, but your customer is the heart of the business. And so you have to be focused on what it is that they need and what they want, right? So as we wrap, Lebo, just quickly, with both of these blunders, how did you feel? Because, yeah, there's the lessons that we learn from it, right? But there's the business side of it. But there's Lebo the human. And I want to hear from Lebo the human. How did you feel while you were going through these blunders? And in hindsight, you know, what could you have done for yourself in those instances? You know,
I'm laughing because Edwin lately teases me. He's like, hey, these days, man. You cry a lot these days, you know? And I only realized I'm more emotional lately because I'm more comfortable with my own issues now. I let myself feel them. I think what happened is every time I went through all these issues, I just brushed them off, you know.
As we do.
Yeah, like, move on. It's part of business. You know, it's part of business. Failure is a part of business. Let's move on. And it's only until 2022 where I lost everything. And, you know, the previous times when things were going bad, it was just Lebogang. 2022, I have a wife. I have a daughter. And now it made it so real for me that, it's okay for me if I don't eat, but these ones, it's a problem. I don't know how many times I was saying to my wife, no, just go to your mother, man. Go visit your mother for a month, you'll be okay. And it's like, month, how am I, But for me, it was that thing because I could foresee the cash flow issue coming. I knew that we will not be able to pay rent. And then at some point, I'm not, because we were living in 4 ways at that time. If I don't pay rent, after a few days, they switch off electricity, they switch off water. And I can't have these people experiencing that. And I remember, so I pray at midnight. Don't ask me why, I just do. I don't have a science behind it, but I pray at midnight. And I remember my wife had left and I couldn't pray. But all I know is I was saying something. But I was not praying. Sometimes when we pray, we become overzealous and over religious. You have these words that you're always repeating. Mm-hmm. This time I was like, no, mudimu, no. This one, it can't be. Like, no, Like, but as I was talking, I then realized that I was crying. And although I didn't get any revelation from that prayer, I left that prayer feeling so at ease and so comfortable. And I then realized that I was harboring a lot of pressure and not releasing it. And my way is always, Masadi, okay, let's move this one. I never really get into the situation and help myself go through it. So I think 2022 was an eye-opener for me that I had to learn to be okay when things are not going my way, but also to let myself feel it and speak about it. I send them voice notes all the time. You see, even with my daughter coming on, she was born on Tuesday, 1 a.m. Yeah. Yes. We went to the hospital on Monday, so that's why I was trying to think about it. But she was born on Tuesday, 1 a.m. And immediately she was born, she was quickly rushed to the NICU. And they were putting all these pipes in her, I remember driving back home and I was just sobbing in the car because I realized how scared I was. I was very scared of that. But previously, I wouldn't have done that. Wow. I would have let it go. You're like, they are doctors. They know what they're doing. They caught it in time. She'll be okay. And I'll be nonchalant, it's okay. But I let myself feel it. And I sent him a voice note when I got home. I was like, man, I'm scared. Having seen my daughter go through that, I'm scared. And I think for the first 2 days, I couldn't go to the hospital to see her because those pipes were just I didn't like that. She's now okay. The only thing is just an oxygen thing. So now it's easier. The other day I was holding her. I was like, I think that's when it clicked. I was like, baby, daddy's girl, Then I saw she has my unibrow. I'm like, this is me. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is I learned that, failure is okay to go through it, but also build yourself through it. Don't just go through the issue.
Yeah.
Let yourself feel it and go through the emotions. It makes you stronger because I think the next time you feel it, like we were laughing about it, the cash flow issues will always be cash flow issues, right?
Yeah.
When you're making 505 million, you still have cash flow issues. But you can't cry every month, partner. We can't keep on saying, month ends are tough, guys. 2 years in, 10 years in, you're still month end.
Yeah.
Yes, the month end challenge will be there. But you must get to a place where, look, man, the business has been here for 5 years. I've been experiencing my month ends. We are still standing. So I'm not going to stress about this thing. I've seen myself deal with it and go through it. Let's now do that. So I think the more you get to a place where you are comfortable with letting yourself feel things and go through them, then you become stronger. The next time it comes, it's like, I've seen this before. We'll go through it. It's okay. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Lebo. Wow. Guys, can we give Lebo a standing ovation, I think. Thank you for sharing your journey, Lebo.